we see that the time is evil. And we saw how the time is coming, and we don't know when Christ will come. But here we read that when we see that all these things is happening, we need to always keep the gathering together. It's something that we need to keep, because it's not something that we need to say, oh, one more Friday, again we'll do the same thing, again we'll go. It's not the same. Maybe we'll hear the same message, but it's not the same day. These days are preparing ourselves to meet with the Christ. Because I'm not sure. The next second, maybe Christ will come. The next day, maybe He will come. We don't know about that. But He says that we need to continue keep this gathering. It's not just a tradition. It's just not just a thing that we're doing every week. It's necessarily thing for Christian, for us. Because when we are outside alone, the world are affecting to us. But when we're in the church, it's giving us again the power to continue, do not quit. In Ecclesiastes 4:10, Solomon said, "For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow. But who to him that is alone when he fell? For he helped not another to help him up." Yes, if you're alone and you fell down, somebody will help you to come up. But it's the same thing about the spiritual life too. Because if we will be alone, when we will fail, who will help us? The church, the gathering is helping to each other. It's not just the fellowship that we have, but it's keeping us safe. When we're together, when something is wrong in my life, when some tribulation, the others, the brothers and sisters can help, can pray, can support. Amen. You know, this is the Christian family, that the church is not just the gathering of people, it's not just an organization. It's spiritual family when we are taking care of each other. And this is important. But one thing, why the Jehovah's Witness start, you know, the history? Charles Russell, who is the priest, he had some ideas, some thoughts, and with that ideas and thoughts, he started a new doctrine, that is false doctrine. But imagine if you have somebody who will take care of him and explain him that it's not the right way to go. Maybe we didn't have so many false teaching and so many people that going on that direction. The same thing, Joseph Smith, the Mormons. Always we see that they have some kind of ideas that came, Satan give, and nobody helped them to correct this thinking, to correct. And the same thing, it can be happen with us. We're not secured, we're not so smart, we're not so powerful that we'll say, oh, we don't need church. I'm so good Christian, I can live with myself. But you know, in Dubai, what I saw, it's Arab country, but you don't feel so much in Dubai. You see so much freedom, and not only freedom, it's good freedom, but with that freedom you see lots of bad things are going on, lots of sin are outside, and it's easy to go on that. When you saw lots of rich cars, buildings, houses, the people, your heart is, you know, starting to temptate. You know, the hardest thing for the human in his life is temptation about the richness, materialism, and it's always the same. And here, there is a freedom, but freedom with the sin too. And because of that, we need this unity in a church, that we can keep each other, to keep each other in pureness, that we will continue the way how God put us in our life. But this is not easy question. Because even we can gather together, but it's not mean that we are united. If you will read lots of problems. And there's lots of problems in divisions. Some people say, I'm Apollos, I'm from Paul, I'm from Jesus, I'm a Christian, you know, this kind of thinking, and it's always, because we're different people, different nationalities, different background, different families that were coming, but how we can be united, how we can be as a church united, because it's important. When there is no united, we don't know even, because evil is always want to split. like that we will be united. He don't like, why he don't like families? Why there's lots of divorces? Because again, evil don't want that we will be united. The same thing is the church. And we need to pay attention. And now we'll read more bigger part, and I will mostly focus on this part. Romans 4. He that is weak in the faith receive ye, but not doubtful disputation. For one believes that he may eat all things, another who is weak eateth herbs. Let not him that eateth herbs his that eateth not, and let not him which eateth not judge him that eateth, for God it receiveth him. Who are do that judge another man's servant to his own master his hand or fell? Yet he shall be hauled up, for God is able to make him stand. One man stands one day above another, another stands every day alike. Let every man be fully preserved in his own mind. He that regard the day regard into the Lord, and he that regard not the day to the Lord, he doth not regard it. He that eateth to the Lord, for he gives God thanks, and he that eateth not to the Lord, he eateth not, and give God thanks. For none of us lives to himself, and no man died to himself. Forever we live unto the Lord, and whatever we die unto the Lord. Whatever we live, therefore, or die, we are the Lord's. For to the and Christ both died and rose and received that he might to Lord both of the dead and living. But why does to judge the brother, or why does the set unite the brother? For we shall all stand before the judgment seat of Christ. For it is written, as I live, said the Lord, every knee shall bow to me, and every tongue shall confess to God. So then every one of us shall give account of himself to God. Let us not therefore judge another anymore, but judge this rather than one man put trample block and cause to fall in his brother's way. I know and I am persuaded by the Lord Jesus that there is nothing unclean of itself, but to him that eateth anything to be unclean, to him is unclean. But if the brother be grieved with the meat, now walks the not charitable. Destroy not him with the meat, whom would the Christ died. Amen. Story that maybe we don't have exactly this problem what they have, because at that time, if you know the story, there's lots of sacrificial thinking is going on. And what does it mean? They have pagan temples, and that pagan temples they doing worshiping, and on that worshiping time they cut some animals for their gods, and they're not using all meat, but some part of that meat that they they give to the shop, and shop sell it. But because of that, there is some people that in a church they say it's not good to eat the meat that sacrificed it to the pagan gods. And the same thing, and now Apostle Paul wants to explain one simple thing, that this kind of thinking are making divisions when somebody judges another one, when it's not about the sin, when it's not the doctrinal things. And because of that, the first principle that we need to know, that we need to be tolerant in the secondary things. We not need to judge, but we need to be tolerant about the secondary things. And these secondary things is Paul is explaining. This is meat and the dates. Let's say, imagine one Christian will be here and he will say, no, it's not right to gather in Friday. We need to gather in Sunday because Lord are raised up in Sunday. And we as a Christian, we need to continue gathered in Sunday. But it will be smart in this country to gather in Sunday while everybody is working. No, didn't be smart. There is no exactly the thing that we need to gather only in Sunday. Yeah, there's a meaning about that, that we need to gather in Sunday. But while we're here, and while the government say that our Sunday is Friday or our free day is Friday, it means we need to gather on Friday, and there is no any problem with that. But if somebody will stumble with this, that we need to gather only on Sunday, it will make divisions. The same thing can happen with this. I don't know, let's say, to wear this or not to wear. You know, and if somebody say, no, we need to wear this exactly, no more doubts, and this is the thing that only will keep, and it will make some kind of problems in the church. And Paul say, no, we didn't need to do these things. If okay, for you it's stumbling, you need to wear this, because it is for your stumbling. But if somebody don't see that this is problem or this is not problem, it's not problem again. I'm not telling, see, there is some tradition that church has. Before coming and standing in front of you, I asked pastor, what kind of, like, I have baron, Filipinos, and I have suit. Which is preferred? Like, maybe you're not wearing baron here, or maybe you're not wearing the suit. And it's okay for me. I don't have any problem with my, it's not stumbling for me to wear baron or to wear the suit. And because of that, I'm free to ask pastor, which is preferred, which is okay with even people too. Because if people say, no, no baron or no suit, only baron, I didn't say, oh, you're weak on your, I don't know, faith or something else. No, this is your thing, and I'm here, and I don't want to become some problem for you, for your faith. If I'm here and I have this faith grows, I didn't stumble on this kind of questions.
Right.
And because of that, if we want to have unity in our church, we need to remember one thing. We need to be tolerant in secondary thing. When there is not directly, we read something from the Bible. If it's not directly saying how we need to do this, we need to be tolerant. And if the church has some kind of tradition that is not against the Bible, why not? We'll continue to keep that. And again, to understand the situation of where we are living. If it's Arabic country that Friday is okay, Friday is holidays, let's gather in Friday. God will never say to you, why you're not gathering in Sunday. Well, didn't hear these kind of things. But when you come to Armenia, we're gathering in Sunday. You didn't need to say, oh, Friday is holiday, and Sunday is not holiday, you know? This is the simple things, but there's some more things, and everybody knows, you know? Everybody, we as people, we know what is stumbling for us. Somebody that's stumbling can be Facebook.